Okay, yay. I've been wanting to show you how to make kale, and my friend just brought me some kale that she got from a farmer's market. So I'm going to cook it in this pan, but first I'm going to trim the stems and rinse it really well. This kale that she gave me is a little different than what I usually buy myself, in that the leaves are a lot bigger. The ones that I have bought at the grocery store, it's like half this size. I don't know that that's going to make any difference, but you want to trim off the bottom stems, so you can do that with your hands or with a knife. With scissors. I suppose you could use a knife too, but I have special scissors back here, so I will use these. And what I'm going to use to season it with is cumin, secret ingredient, and a bullion cube. You can use chicken or chicken stock or broth or vegetarian broth or a bullion cube, depending on your preference. And even though these bullion cubes sometimes have a lot of unpronounceable words in them, I still think they're better than fatback. So, you can rinse your kale really well in, you might have a bin that will hold your water, and then you can reuse the water for watering your plants or something, or you can clean out your sink and rinse it really well in there, but do it a couple times to get any chemicals or dirt, whatever, off. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And after I rinse it, trim it and rinse it really well, while the leaves are still in my sink or bin and wet, that's when I sprinkle the cumin generously over them. So let me get that done, and then I'll take you to the next step. But you'll need cumin, kale, a pot, some kind of broth. So for the bouillon, I'm going to take one in about a cup or so of water and heat it up first before I put it in here. You don't need any oil. If you want to top your greens with a teaspoon of olive oil, perhaps after you cook them when you're going to eat them, that's an okay idea, but you don't need to cook them in oil. Okay, I have my kale in the sink, and my pan is warming up. It's on medium-high. I didn't use any non-fat spray because the leaves of the kale are wet, so they'll be fine. And they're going to like partially steam at first, and then you're going to simmer them with your broth, your water broth. So I'm going to go off camera now, put the food on the camera, and show you what's going on, or how I'm doing this. The rinsed kale in my sink, and I don't know, I've not made kale that was so big before, but oh, you can't see, I'm sprinkling the cumin here. Let me get it all over everything. Now I'm going to put the kale into that pot that I showed you. And it's almost like blanching, except you're not putting it in a bunch of water, you're just putting it in the pan. But you turn it over a couple times so it wilts. This is not going in the right way. So that it wilts, and then you add the water and simmer it for a while. You cook it as long as you want, so that it gets to the texture that you like. I like mine very well cooked. But the first time I had kale that I remember that I liked it so very much was when my sister made me a seafood dinner. It was actually flounder. And she used bamboo baskets like they have at the Asian restaurants. I had bought it for her birthday or Christmas or something. Anyway, she layered the kale and the fish in there and steamed it, and it was delicious. So, you do that for a couple minutes, and you take the lid off and move the kale around, which can be, I'm stirring the broth off camera here. Let's see, it's been long enough. So I don't know any good technique or how to tell you to do this without, you know, burning yourself. Just be careful. Because you see it's getting much darker green there where it's on the bottom. And like I said, there's nothing in the pan. I'm sure that I put more kale in this pan than I should have, but it's the only pan I have. It's the only pan I brought with me to North Carolina, perhaps I should say. So you just do that for a few minutes and until it seems like it's all wilted. Until it seems like it's all wilted, and then you add the broth. I have no idea if you can actually see me in this camera right now. So we're going to add the broth, and we're going to simmer it. Just keep checking on it. So definitely you don't want the pan to dry out, so you might have to add more broth while you're doing this, but I generally cook it, simmer it for at least 30 minutes, especially when the pan is this full. And like I said, this is big leaf kale. Could taste different. Could taste different. There's the broth. You might want to turn it up a little bit just to get the water going, and watch if you're using a bouillon cube that it gets dissolved. Just keep a check on it, and just keep a check on it, and that should do it. I want you to see mine is still simmering in there. What I've been trying to do, since this is a bigger leafed kale, it has big stems. So I'm trying to get the stems, as you can see, down into the water so that they'll get tender, while the leafy part probably already is. There's another big stem. So whoops, can't see that. So I'm trying to get that big stem down there. So I'm going to let it cook a little bit longer. And then I'm going to tell you something about a new way I tried eating them. Okay, my kale is done, so it makes a great side dish, of course. But what I discovered the other day, I was, I don't know, looking for another meat substitute to put on salad, because I usually have a salad in the afternoon. And my salad, the lettuce I use for my salads is usually the iceberg lettuce, shredded, so it's pale. You know, it's not a deep green lettuce. So, as you know, I like to make my food colorful. So I put, I don't know, half a cup or something of kale on my lettuce. So I had lettuce and kale and, you know, tomatoes, mushrooms, whatever. And I sprinkled Parmesan cheese. Oh, I warmed the kale before I put it on the salad, just like you would warm a piece of chicken or something. So I warmed the kale, put it on the lettuce and tomatoes and mushrooms, sprinkled some Parmesan cheese, and then I used the Walden Farms Italian salad dressing. This one. It was delicious. It was a real different kind of taste, a different lunch. It was great. So the kale is great. Just out of the pan, you know, as a side dish, seasoned the way I showed you with the cumin and the bouillon cube or some kind of broth, and also, believe it or not, popped on top of the salad. So I hope you'll try it.